The first face is the divine cow of the east, the good mother in her role as the womb that ruptures to feed the earth with the milk of life. In Egyptian myth, the nourishing and transformative quality of milk is expressed when Hathor pours gazelle milk into the eye sockets of Horus to restore his vision after they'd been gouged out by Seth. As the power of feminine creativity is contained only in Mother Earth, the good mother is sovereign over all vegetative mysteries, and only she knows the secret of original conception. This is figuratively represented as the black veil that hides the face of Hathor-Isis. The mystery of this fruit birth is mythically represented when Isis cures a young boy who had been stung by 7 scorpions by using magic to name and control the toxin. In another myth, she learns Ra's secret name by poisoning him with his own venom, and offering to cure him only on the condition that he tell her his secret name. In the context of knowledge equals power, she wants to raise her son-child Horus next to Ra in hope of his immortality. Being the Lady of Heaven, the good mother is the goddess of the eastern sky who governs the birth and rebirth of her son-child. She is the throne on which he sits. In actual fact, one of Isis's headdresses is a throne above her head, and the representation of Isis and Horus together is an eternal symbol of matriarchal dominance over an ego still embedded in nature. In this phase, Horus, or Hippocrates in Greek, is her son-lover, just as Ihi is Hathor's son-lover, the eternal youth who is depicted naked with a side lock of hair and a finger in his mouth as the animus or phallic consort of the Great Mother, on whom his fate is entirely dependent. The second face is the wise cat of the north, the goddess of homes and royalty whose guidance, love, wisdom and vision elevates her son-child to solar or higher masculinity, assuring the evolution of ego consciousness. If the eastern polarity is the lower body of the archetypal feminine, the northern polarity of ascension is the upper body, or breast region, from which the child is suckled. Spiritual transformation can only be realized between these two poles. The Great Mother's sovereignty over growth and all inspiration mysteries is obvious in the reference she of the pillar being the palm tree or sycamore as the earth phallus that confers nourishment to souls. The sycamore is one of the most commonly represented aspects of nature in Egyptian art. In the Book of Coming Forth by Day, a collection of spells assuring the deceased entry into the afterlife, 2 sycamores of turquoise stand at the eastern gate of heaven, whence Ra goes forth each morning. The sycamore is Hathor, whose earthly roots nourish Ra, so that he may ascend above her head and into the sky. The growth of her trunk, which can reach astral heights, denotes the passage of time, the sun's worst enemy. As Tree of Heaven, she is also mistress of the celestial beasts of the zodiac. At Dendera, the celestial great round of the zodiac in the temple ceiling is held up by the gods. So, here we go. That's the Dendera zodiac over there. And we can see it being held up, or the sky, the cupola of the sky being held up by the gods. At its center is the Great Mother. If you can see her, I think that's in the form of Reret, the hippopotamus, who holds the knife and ritually castrates her son-lover as an eternal symbol of self-fertilization. The son-lover is represented by the bull's thigh, which is also there, a phallic symbol, and it's also a constellation. This matriarchal viewpoint of the heavens is endowed by the entire naked body of Hathor on the side over here, whose outstretched hands denote divine epiphany. The third face stands opposite the first and is the Terrible Linus of the West, the terrible mother who entertains the mystery of death, appearing in the Book of Coming Forth by Day as a cow emerging from the mountain of the West to welcome the deceased into the afterlife. And here she is, from the Book of the Dead. As the dispenser of life, her nurturing personality is juxtaposed by her earthly need for self-fertilization by devouring her own offspring. She is the vulture that feeds on corpses and takes them back into the earth. She is Sekhmet, the raging Linus. So there she is, as a Linus, whose solar eye burns and judges, dispensing disease and destruction at will. In predynastic times, the Egyptians wished to placate the wrath of the terrible mother through sacrifice, ritual execution, and orgiastic dance, and because blood was perceived to build up during pregnancy when menstruation ceased, the spillage of it was necessary to counter what she'd given at will, the gift of life. Egyptian mythology speaks of a time when Hathor had been sent by Ra to punish the people for their wrongdoings. To save themselves, they brewed thousands of jars of beer dyed with red ochre, which the goddess mistook for blood. She lapped it all up with her forked tongue and then fell asleep. After awakening from her drunken stupor, Hathor's maternal instinct returned, and they were all saved. Naturally, the myth is describing the repelling spheres of the maternal elementary within the Great Mother, archetype where her life-granting significance as tree of heaven is vastly juxtaposed by her life-taking significance as the flesh-eating sarcophagus, the hulk of wood enclosing the dead. The fourth face stands opposite the second, the eternal cobra of the south, whose beauty and eternal youth can enchant and dissolve ego consciousness. As the positive elementary aspect of Hathor can pull the ego towards transcendence, her negative elementary side may overwhelm and lead the sunchild to madness, helplessness, stupor, and loss of identity, to the mysteries of drunkenness. The power of the bestial instinct within is symbolized by the snake or cobra, the animus of the Great Mother, that first self-fertilizes and expresses her eternity. The mistress of the animal kingdom is also the mistress of foreign lands, in a context where foreign designates everything unknown. In other words, the bestial forces of the unconscious. The Egyptian people believed that everything beyond Egypt was her personal property, and so imported items were considered to be her gifts. It is this unification of north and south, solar and lunar, celestial sky and earth, tree and snake, and genesis and extinction, that drive conscious differentiation from the vast unconscious, proliferating from elementary stages of existence to the pinnacle of conscious transformation, where the ego claims independence from the Great Mother and can stand alone. And on that note, we will continue with this discussion next time.